on the greatest security challenge our two countries face, tackling terrorism and rooting out the extremism that fuels it. Both our countries have, sadly, experienced the horrors of terrorism all too recently. I offer our heartfelt condolences to the families and friends of the 3 innocent French victims killed in the terrible attack in London last week. It shows so painfully how these attacks are not attacks on one place, but on us all. And a British man, Nick Alexander, of course, also tragically died in the Bataclan attack in Paris in November 2015. And I know you stand with us against this evil. And tonight, as you've just heard, President Macron and I will join the England and French football teams and the fans at the Stade de France to honour the victims of the London Bridge attack. In the wake of the November 2015 Paris attacks, the England and French teams paid tribute at Wembley Stadium to all those who lost their lives. And our visit to the Stade de France tonight will be a similar show of solidarity against terrorism and extremism. The counter-terrorism cooperation between our intelligence agencies is already strong, but President Macron and I agree that more should be done to tackle the terrorist threat online. As I've said before, in the UK we are already working with social media companies to halt the spread of extremist material and poisonous propaganda that is warping young minds. But we know they need to do more. And today we can announce that the UK and France will work together to encourage corporations to do more and abide by their social responsibility to step up their efforts to remove harmful content from their networks. We're launching a joint UK-French campaign to ensure that the internet cannot be used as a safe space for terrorists and criminals, and that it cannot be used to host the radicalising material that leads to so much harm. We will lead joint work with the tech companies on this vital agenda, including working with them to develop tools to identify and remove harmful material automatically. We will press them to urgently establish the industry-led forum we agreed at the G7 summit last month to develop shared technical and policy solutions to tackle terrorist content on the internet. Crucially, our campaign will also include exploring creating a legal liability for tech companies if they fail to take the necessary action to remove unacceptable content. The Home Secretary and the French Interior Minister will meet in the coming days to drive forward this important work, and we are united in our total condemnation of terrorism and our commitment to stamp out this evil. Finally, on Brexit, we have been very clear that we want to maintain a close relationship and a close partnership with the EU and individual member states into the future, including in the areas we've discussed this evening. And I confirmed to President Macron that the timetable for the Brexit negotiation remains on course and will begin next week. So thank you, Emmanuel, for our very constructive discussions this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michel Rose de Reuters. Monsieur le Président, Madame la Première ministre, vous aviez dit, Monsieur le Président, lors de votre visite à Downing Street en février, une sortie est une sortie. Est-ce que vous pensez que cette sortie aujourd'hui sera plus douce? Est-ce que les résultats des élections en Grande-Bretagne signifient un soft Brexit plutôt qu'un hard Brexit? Merci.
Je pense que la Première ministre May peut peut-être davantage que moi répondre en détail à cette question. Je vais vous dire quelle est ma position, en tout cas pour ce qui me concerne. La première, c'est que le souhait de la France, c'est que les négociations commencent le plus rapidement possible. La deuxième, c'est que ces négociations soient conduites par l'Union européenne de manière coordonnée et donc pas État par État. C'est le choix qui a été fait, c'est le bon, afin qu'il y ait une préservation des intérêts de court, moyen et long terme de l'Union européenne. Enfin, mon souhait, c'est que nous ne passions pas l'essentiel de notre énergie à discuter des modalités du Brexit, mais que nous puissions d'une part continuer au sein de l'Union européenne et de la zone euro de parler d'avenir et des projets indispensables pour aller plus loin, et entre nos deux pays, de continuer à discuter et à faire dans le cadre d'un agenda bilatéral où la discussion d'aujourd'hui l'a montré, nous avons énormément de défis en commun. Je laisse peut-être Madame le Premier ministre répondre sur les conséquences du vote sur la négociation britannique.
Well, thank you very much. I think there is a unity of purpose among people in the United Kingdom. It's a unity of purpose, having voted to leave the EU, that their government gets on with that and makes a success of it. And we are committed to developing a deep and special partnership with the EU. We want the EU to continue to remain strong, and we want to continue to cooperate. We want to develop that deep and special partnership on matters relating to trade. But as we've heard, the issues we discussed tonight on security are also issues on which it's important for us to cooperate in the future. And I believe that with the good process that has been set out by the EU for those negotiations, which start, as I have said, next week, and with the willingness and intent on both sides to build that future partnership, then we will see an arrangement for Brexit that will be in the interests not just of the United Kingdom, but of the remaining 27 member states of the European Union. Thank you. Matt.
Matt Fry, Channel 4 News. Prime Minister, you talk about a unity of purpose, but the former Prime Minister, your former party leader, John Major, has effectively accused you today of endangering peace in Northern Ireland by clinging to power with a coalition deal with the DUP. What is your response to that? And if I may, Monsieur le Président, you said an exit is an exit, but the German finance minister, Wolfgang Schäuble, said today that if Britain changed its mind for some reason, the door would be open to remain in the EU. Do you agree with him?
Shall I take the first? On the first point that you raised, Matt, we as a government remain absolutely steadfast in our commitment to the Belfast Agreement and the subsequent agreements, and we continue to work with all the parties in Northern Ireland and with the Government of the Republic of Ireland in ensuring that we can continue to put in place those measures necessary to fulfil those agreements. As you'll be aware, there are discussions now continuing to take place on the formation of the Northern Ireland Executive and our intent on enabling the parties to work together to ensure we can see that executive being reformed and a devolved administration continuing in Northern Ireland is absolute. What we're doing in relation to the talks that we're holding, the productive talks we're holding with the Democratic Unionist Party, is ensuring that it is possible to, with their support, give the stability to the UK government that I think is necessary at this time. We stand at a critical time with those Brexit negotiations starting only next week. I think that stability is important. We have worked as a party with the DUP before, and those are productive talks. The intent is to ensure that we have the stability of government in the national interest.
Pour ce qui est de votre question, monsieur, je peux parler en anglais, je l'ai fait quelquefois. Dans une conférence de presse, le mieux c'est de parler en français, sinon je m'attirerai des polémiques inutiles. Et je défends la langue française.